New York cities, tri-state area, New Jersey family. The Brooklyn Nets handily manhandled the Los Angeles Clippers. A full strength Los Angeles Clippers. And we didn't even have KD. Let's talk basketball. Flying solo today on your at front office pod is Eve Darbooz. I've got a meeting at 12. Sam's got class. Both of us pretty tired last night watching the Clipper game, even though it wasn't as arduous. But there's no way I was going to let a day go by and not address this 5-game West Coast trip winning streak. I get shocked when I look at the numbers for this pod. I have to check again, and then I have to ask other people who are very much so real professional podcasters who are trying to build careers out of it. I'm just trying to serve the people. You never hear me say like and subscribe. I never ask you guys to leave any comments on Apple, and the ones I do get typically are ones that are angry with me, but I'm flattered, man. Like, I'm really, really, really flattered, and it's probably more truly flattery, because it's people searching for Nets content. The local radio, I was talking to one guy on Twitter today. He was upset that these, terrestrial radio, sports radio guys aren't talking about the Nets. And the reason why I do this pod, again, it's an experiment. I'm currently building applications and investing in content because there's a paradigm shift in it. There are guys who do better, far better than the terrestrial radio guys that are sitting at home. Now, Nets fan base, we're not the most united as a group. We've got like separate little factions that are weird to, we've got the New Jersey suburbs faction that kind of like understands each other's language. Then we've got these like new young guys that their feelings get hurt anytime you say anything to them. Like, I'm not y'all age, you know what I mean? I come from a much harsher time. I come from a time where trash talking is normal, and we're gonna talk about Pat Beverly and trash talking in a little bit. Like, I see it as so different from so many of you, and it's because you guys are younger. You guys come from a time where, like, if you're a bully, you're not popular. And I went to school at a time when everybody was a bully, girls included. One of the most shocking things I've ever seen was pretty much my normal, taking, I didn't have to take the train to school because I lived so close to Erasmus, before I moved out to Long Island in 11th grade. I didn't have to take the train. I have to walk, but the times that I would have to take the train, meet my family downtown, or meet an uncle, or take my grandmother somewhere, like girls, the Deceptionettes with actual hardware hammers, not the rap slang of hammers of guns, hammers. Like, that's just where we were at in the 90s. It girls with hammers hitting people on the train. It was a different time. I came at a time where your coach in a sport could youth leagues can grab you by the helmet and yank you off the court, you know. So I understand why I don't really mesh well with the younger guys who they all just want to pat each other on the back on Twitter. Hi, friendly, my friends and everybody. You know, I get it. I raised two young ladies from Brooklyn who think their dad is toxic. I am. I agree. I think you guys are evolving. I think you guys are way better than us. I come from a time where, if the kids on the block were chasing me to the house, my mom would lock the door and make me fight them on the stoop. So my viewpoints and my energy sometimes, and that's why I love having Sam, because Sam kind of bridges that gap. He's very, he's just a good dude. So I see why we're all separate and kind of like disparate on the net side of things. We're a funny team because our core fan base came from Jersey. You know, our Brooklyn fan base, especially the ones my age and above, especially like the Spike Lee generation. Spike Lee's way older than me. Jay-Z's way older than me. Well, nah, I think I could have been in ninth grade when Jay-Z would have been a senior, but he didn't. You know, he's my brother's classmate at Westinghouse and didn't make it that far, or something like that. I might not have made it into high school with them, but point being is it's a lot of different generations with a lot of different viewpoints. My generation, we're more Brooklyn acolytes. We more rep this borough, you know, while Spike Lee's generation, they're more stuck on that era of when the Knicks won the championship in '73. And then there's my son's generation. My son's 8. He's a great kid. He wants to be a YouTuber. He's not going to be because I won't let him. No, I'm just joking. He wants to be a YouTuber, and all his friends in school want to be YouTubers too. It's the most hilarious thing. But it's also a reason why I believe in content so much as something to invest in. It's those kids love the Nets, and they love the Nets for a different reason. They love the Nets because that's the team they want to use on NBA 2K. And even in Roadblocks, they're starting to have like little basketball games and in these kind of user generated video games that kids love nowadays. Kevin Durant doesn't miss on the game, and Kyrie Irving is super fast. So, it's a fun time, but we're still a young fan base, and I see it in like the numbers of the people who listen to this show in particular. But don't worry about terrestrial radio guys. Those are the Spike Lee guys. Those are the guys that are in my generation, the guys from Queens and upstate New York. Like, the Knicks are a bridge and tunnel team. They don't really represent Manhattan, because what is Manhattan? Like, very few people live in Manhattan okay, let me rewind that. If you're from New York and you're not from Harlem or Uptown, you may not really be from New York, except for those pockets of places that are New York City, LES. But if you're from Soho, there's a good chance that you're money and you just got here. And the Knicks will always have an unfair advantage in the sense of the Knicks is Poughkeepsie's team. The Knicks are Eastern Yapank's team. You know, like, the Nets are Brooklyn's team. And we bring a lot of and that alone makes us a divisive group, because they're New Jersey Nets fans who rightfully look at this team as theirs. You know, it is your team. You are a part of this. But it does cause a lot of like divisiveness, and there's other things like, race plays a role in it too. If you look at the little groups that form, it's like, white guys just hanging out, and I get it. I'm not mad at it. A lot of our diehard listeners, like I think I got black nets to it. You know what I mean? And that's fine. But some of my most diehard listeners are Spanish and or Hispanic or Latin and white. And I appreciate everybody, and I can't believe that more than 5,000 people stream this thing on Spotify. Like it freaks me out because I didn't do it for those reasons. I did it because I love the art form of podcasting. I want to understand what podcasters go through. You've heard me say this diatribe before, but I want to service you guys so that I don't worry about the terrestrial radio, because I don't really listen to terrestrial radio anymore. Me and my brother were talking the other day about Evan and Carton, and the show kind of lost a charm to it. It's a different show. The show Evan and Carton do is very different from the show that Evan and Joe Benigno did. That my brother was telling me, like, he laments the fact that it's not that conversation to it. Like, he looked at Evan and Joe, and they're not father and son, but like how we talk sports with our dad. And so that dynamic is not there anymore. That generational dynamic. Now it's more of a, kind of like AM sports jock radio type of thing, irreverent, disrespectful, off the beaten path of sports. And I like that too, but that's really the only show I listen to. And I catch all of it on podcasts. Like, I don't even hear, I miss hearing the people talking on that show. And, again, it doesn't bother me that they don't talk Nets. It doesn't bother me that, they're not talking about us right now. 5-game winning streak. And they try to do this self-fulfilling prophecy of we don't get Nets calls. So, like, if you don't talk Nets, and we as Nets fans know you don't talk Nets, like, I would never listen to Boomer. You can't get me to listen to Boomer's show in the morning. Even though I'm digging out snow, I'm driving my kids to school. Like, it might have been a good thing to listen to in the morning, but I won't listen to it because, one, Boomer gives me very racist Aryan vibes, and two, I'm not saying he is. I have a story about Boomer from when I was a kid in football camp out in Eastern Long Island, attending Boomer's football camp before he made it to the NFL, believe it or not. But that's not for today. Today we need to talk about our team. We need to be hyped about this thing that we call the Brooklyn Nets. We need to find ourselves in a place that it's just that's what matters. Brooklyn, our team, the black and white, and sometimes other colors. What a fucking team, y'all. What a great place to be. Like, I'm watching the snowfall in my backyard right now. Recording this pod in my bedroom in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. And I just love this place. And it broke my heart to just watch our city, a city that organically loves basketball, be a laughingstock, be a joke. And I know the Knicks are having somewhat of a renaissance. They're doing very well.